Happy New Year! Happy birthday to me! Welcome back to school! Welcome back to the Narwhog!
Ba-dum-ba-dum, 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 the Narwhog!
Alright, so I've got to make this kind of quick because I've got a ton of work left to do, and it's New Year's Day! You see, I spent the whole break up till today pretty much lying in bed in pain and misery with the flu. So now I've got all this extra work that I was hoping to spread out over a week and a half. Anyway, resolutions. Well, this isn't a great year for resolutions because I'm kind of swamped, so I don't think I can, do anything more than I'm already doing. So I'm pretty much just gonna say one of my resolutions is to hang in there and work as hard as I can for as long as I can and try not to worry about the rest of it. As far as reading goes, last year I had a great year for reading. I read a whole lot of books. This year, I'm going to try to read a whole lot more books, but more specifically, I'm going to try to read a lot of literary criticism, and I'm going to try to document all the literary criticism I read, as well as all the literary criticism and academic lectures that I listen to. Also, I got a Marvel Unlimited subscription, so that means I'm going to read lots and lots of comic books. That's not a resolution, I'm just going to read lots and lots of comic books. I really love comic books, and I think that they have an important historical and pop cultural significance, and so I'm interested in, combining those two fields, the field of pop cultural comic book studies with the field of literary criticism. Maybe I'll do some shows about it. I'd like to do some great shows on YouTube, but I don't want to plan anything specific in my resolutions because I don't know what the year has to bring. Towards the end of last year, I was doing about 2 episodes a week. I think that that would be pretty good. Books I read in 2014, well, there wasn't one that just completely overawed me and wowed me. There were a few that had important sentimental value to me. I reread all of the Adventures of Tintin, the graphic novels from Hergé, who's a Belgian author, and I reread them to my son, and I really, really loved them when I was a kid, and there were a few that I never was able to purchase by mowing lots of lawns. My dad would pay me $5 to mow the lawn 4 times. So there were a few that I never got to read, and there were also a few that I didn't really know existed because they hadn't been translated back when I was a kid. And so to sit down with Henry and read all of those straight through was really nostalgic for me and a whole lot of fun. Tintin is this plucky little reporter who gets out of all these horrible dangers not by his own wit exactly, but by this continual series of Deus Ex Machina where something swoops in and rescues him at the last second, like by pure luck. Anyway, a whole lot of fun. I also read all of the Sherlock Holmes stories at the end of 2014, and that was certainly interesting and historical. There's a lot to love in the Sherlock Holmes stories, but there's also a lot to sort of, raise your eyebrows at, some of the racism underlying it, some of the racy themes like drug abuse and things like that. But all in all, as I said, a good year for reading. Other books I really liked this year were The Cat's Cradle by Vonnegut. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children is really cool. The Ink Dark Moon, which is an excellent book of poetry. The Princess and the Goblin, a great fairy tale story by George MacDonald. And I finally read The Art of War by Sun Tzu, which made me feel like I ought to play chess or something. Okay, worst book I read this year was The Flying Inn by G.K. Chesterton. And I really love Chesterton, and I was enjoying reading all of his books, and I got to The Flying Inn, and I didn't get it. I wasn't sure what I was supposed to like about the good guys, what I was supposed to dislike about the bad guys. It was very confusing. It seemed like a clash of worldviews, but I didn't really understand how the worldviews were clashing, or what the big loss was, or what the big gain was, or what. It kept trying to feel significant, but didn't. Oh well, the rest of his stuff is really good. Anyway, that's all for this time. I've really got to get back to work, so take care. Thanks for watching. Click on my hair to subscribe. Click on the Sherlock Holmes book to see the previous episode. Or click over here, and you can watch the next episode. See you next week. Yes, my hair really does do this. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to do another series like, speaking of comic books.